let's start with the first speaker. Our first speaker comes from Spain, and his name is Ángel Medinilla.
So it seems like I've been invited to unmute myself. Thank you so much for your kind introduction. By the way, that was a perfect pronunciation of my name. That was amazing.
I was practicing. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I always make the joke that people have a very hard time pronouncing my name, which is Ángel, because of the ch sound that is very particular from the Mediterranean regions. And but you spoiled my joke because you pronounce it perfectly.
Sorry. You know, my son's starting learning Spanish this year in school, so I had a bit of practice.
That's brilliant. It's a difficult language, by the way.
It is. Yeah,
so
it is.
Kudos for your effort. Okay.
So I wanted to ask you something before you start. So for
please.
those who don't know, our speakers, you were, and the participants of today's event, you were also a guest here in Belgrade in person. So if you remember that, it was a couple of years ago, but what was the biggest impression of Belgrade?
There's one thing that comes to my mind, maybe not the answer you're looking for, but I remember the views from the sky. When I was approaching there with a plane, I remember all the coast, and I remember all the beautiful landscapes and all that. And that really came to my mind when I think about that particular event. And then, you know, the answer you're looking for, all the people were amazing, and the organization was great, and the conference was huge.
Okay.
But yeah, I do remember the views from the sky. Yeah.
Great. So hopefully when all this situation ends and things get back into normal, we will definitely welcome you again and to build on more impressions from Belgrade for you. So you are here with us with the talk on change management, right?
Sure.
Good. So now the floor is yours. We will enjoy.
Nice. Okay, good. So thank you so much again for your introduction. Thank you for having me here. I was really impressed when you say we have an all-stars edition in 2020. My first reaction was, and then why are you talking to me? I don't consider myself to be a star at all.
Oh, but don't be modest.
I did took the chance. I was like, I did take the chance. I'm like, if you're going to have me, it's great. But when I saw the people that were able to line up, like Yukin and Alistair and all the people, I was like, wow, that's really impressive. And it's a little bit scary. But congratulations, because you managed to pull off a great event in a very, very difficult situation and very difficult conditions. So very honestly, congratulations. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you. That is agility in practice, right? We adapted to the situation. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Definitely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my desktop. This is the moment where we all pray to the gods of audiovisuals. We have been doing some tests. Unfortunately, it seems like everything is going right. And this is my slideshow. And yes, my talk is about change management. My goal is to speak maybe for like 35 to 40 minutes, and then we will have 10 minutes for questions and answers. And of course, please feel free to send your questions. If we are not able to address every single question, you can find me in LinkedIn. You have there my link. You can also find me in Twitter with the Twitter handle that you are seeing down, Angel_M. And then there's other ways that you can reach me, which is like Facebook or my email or whatever. Please feel free to, contact me with whatever question you have. For those of you who are not able to picture who am I, let me give you a little bit of background. I was a project manager for 10 to 15 years, like die-hard PMI project manager in big telecommunication companies here in Spain. And then at some point, I was tired on how things were managed, and I created my own consulting firm. That was 2007, which is like 13 years ago, 14 years in a bit of time, which is crazy. And for these 14 years, what I've been doing is I've been helping companies around the world to improve in their results, in their processes, their cultures. Agility is a big part of it, especially in 2008, 2009. There was not so many people in the Agile landscape. So I started working with some companies in Spain. Some of them were multinationals, and they started talking to the guys in Germany and Scandinavia and saying, hey, there's a crazy guy here talking about sprints and backlogs and retrospectives, and it seems to work. You should listen to him. So I started traveling around Europe, and then in 2014, I started crossing the Atlantic Ocean, and then I started working with many companies around Latin America, which has been a great experience and has enriched my life so much because of the many cultures I've been able to, study and live with and work with. It's been great. It's been an honor and a pleasure. I feel so fortunate. So my background, it's big. I don't think I've seen everything around the earth, but I've seen a lot. I've seen companies that work in telecommunications, video games, electronics, mobile, logistics, tourism, healthcare, pharma, military aerospace, government, I don't know, you name it. When I introduce myself, I like to say that I'm an agnostic and a pragmatist. Agnostic in the sense that I start by saying, I don't know. And just for the fact that somebody is saying in a book that this is a thing that you should be doing in agility, I'm like, okay, let's try that. I don't believe it works until I see it working. And the one thing I have is the experience of having worked with many companies around the world. So I've seen what works everywhere, every single time, and what doesn't work nowhere. I have this a joke or an experience comes to my mind. There's a lot of companies that comes to me and they say, the problem here is that we are very, very bad at estimates. We need to improve our estimates. And I'm like, you are assuming that there's a company out there that is very good at estimating. And that's not the case. I haven't found that. Everybody seems to think that they have a problem with estimates. They don't work anywhere. That's why they're called estimates and not reality. Okay. So I've seen how a lot of people struggle with things that never work. And I've been able to find some things that work. That's my background. More than, of course, I've been teaching people how to do Scrum and I've been even a safe consultant for a part of my life. Please don't kill me. I will talk about that in this talk. But the one thing I do is to help companies realize, to be conscious about what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve, what's the goal, what's the purpose, and then help them achieve that purpose. That will be a definition of my role. Enough about me. So now you have some idea on who's this guy and why is he telling us about change management. And So we have some 35 slides to go, and my goal is to have them done like in 30 or 35 minutes. So let's see how that goes. So my first reflection about change management. I'm remembering before I created my own company, I was so frustrated because I found myself in this situation where I had an idea, or maybe someone else out there had an idea like, hey, have you tried about, I don't know, creating cross-functional teams, putting them all together, giving them a clear instruction of what they need to achieve, showing them the customer, the problem, and how we think we can solve that problem, then give them autonomy and all the means they need to create a great product and leave them on their own and let them, improve by retrospecting on their work. And you're like, oh my God, that's an amazing idea. Or even if you try it a little bit and you see it works and you are so excited, oh my God, this agile thing, this Scrum thing, or whatever, because this is not only a talk about agility, it's about any idea you are bringing to a human organization. Sometimes it's about going to the school of your kids and saying, hey, there's this new method for teaching people, for teaching kids, the Montessori method, and it seems to be great. And the problem is that you are so convinced and so eager and so excited about this great idea. And then the next thing that happens is that somebody shoots it down. What? And then you start listening to this, so regular, so usual sentences like, nah, that will never work here. Which is stupid when you think about it. What do you mean here? It's like, this agile thing is working everywhere. And then you are like, let's try it here. And they're like, no, that will never work here. I always say, what do you mean here? Here in this group, in this area, in this building, in this company, in this city, in this country? Where's the line? I mean, where's the line where you say, hey, it works here, it works here, it works here. And then you cross the line and say, oh, it doesn't work there. What do you mean it doesn't work here? Or sometimes people say, oh, we don't have time for that. which is just an excuse because everyone has the exact amount of time. Everyone in the world has 24 hours. That's what Leonardo da Vinci had. That's what Benjamin Franklin had. That's what Albert Einstein had. Everyone has 24 hours a day. It's a matter of what you do with that 24 hours. We don't have time for that because we are doing something else. So please prove me that that's something else we're doing. It's better. It's more important than this other thing I'm showing you. But time is absolutely arbitrary. It's what are you willing to do with that time? And then again, there's another one that I love when people say, well, that's not the way we do things around here. And it brings me memories of the many times that I've been asked by a company to show them how to scale agility, for instance. And I'm like, okay, well, this is how I do it in many other places, blah, blah, blah. You create value streams, and then you create several teams together, and these are cross-functional teams, and they are small, and they have product or service delivery teams on top here, and then they work on cycles. And then somebody says, yeah, but that's not how we are organized here. And I'm like, yeah, I know, and that's the reason you called me, and that's why I'm telling you how can you organize in a different way if you want some kind of different results or some different behaviors. But I know you are not doing that way. I know you are not doing this, and this is the reason I'm saying, hey, let's try something else. So again, that's not the way we do things around here. I don't know. It has no sense when you're talking about bringing new ideas, changing behaviors, changing results, no? I have one on top, which is, that's for Americans. I used to listen that a lot in Spain and Latin America. Oh, with our culture of Latin people, we like to party and we like to be, like this not caring culture. Americans are so disciplined. And I'm like, I don't know if you have met a lot of Americans. There are many kinds of Americans. Some of them even vote for Donald Trump. Oh, sorry. So yeah, there's so many excuses that people are using in order to avoid change. And then it's very easy that you fall in a trap, you yourself, which is, it has a psychological description, which is called the attribution mistake. It has a very complicated explanation, what's the attribution mistake, but I always explain it in a simpler way, which is you look to your left, you look to your right, and you say, I am surrounded by idiots. And it's great. It's a great explanation because it explains everything. If I'm surrounded by idiots, oh my God, that's the reason. That's the reason nothing works around here. That's the reason we have this crazy bureaucracy. That's the reason I'm never able to convince other people. It's because I'm surrounded by idiots. And then you quit your company and you go to another company. And 2 years later, guess what? You are surrounded by idiots again. And then you keep going. And at some point in your life, you have to stop and say, hey, is it that I'm so unlucky that I always end up in companies surrounded by idiots? Or maybe there's another reason. And I think there's another reason. Maybe you are surrounded by idiots. I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm saying that in my experience, that's seldom the case. That's very rarely the case. It might happen, but when you look at those quote idiots that you are talking about, most of them, they have college degrees, they have a lot of experience, they have been running very complex companies for a long time, achieving amazing market results. They might not be that idiots. Something else might be happening. And the problem with the attribution mistake, this idea of I'm surrounded by idiots, is that your mind loves simple explanations. The problem is that changing a company, it's complex, it's difficult. It has a lot of different things going on at the same time. And your brain is not good at dealing with complexity. So we prefer to have one simple explanation. The reason our company is not changing is because the president doesn't want to. It's because we haven't convinced the guy on top. And again, that's rarely the reason things doesn't change. Think about India and Gandhi. When they achieved the independence from the United Kingdom, imagine people going to Gandhi and saying, hey, Mahatma, we have this great idea. How about we become independent from England? And then Mahatma Gandhi saying, yeah, I know it's a great idea, but we have a problem. Oh, what's the problem? Oh, the king doesn't want to. The Queen of England, she's not in favor of us being independent. Oh, I see. The Queen does. Of course, the Queen doesn't want to. That's the freaking problem. We need to convince that person. That's the whole process. Or that's a very, very important part of the process. Okay. So we love simple explanations. It might be well more complex than, oh, there's one person that doesn't want to do that. There must be a lot of other explanations. But we love to think about, oh, there's one reason I am surrounded by idiots, or, oh, there's one reason my boss doesn't want to. And then your brain relaxes because there's one reason and it's not in your control. It's somebody else's fault and you can do nothing about it. And that's the primary reason that companies doesn't change, because we all believe that somebody else is the one that needs to be changing, instead of thinking, what can I do myself or what can I change myself? And then a lot of people say that's not that easy because I'm a small, simple person and I don't have a lot of power and I don't have, decision power in order to make the change. We need to convince someone else. But think about something. It's not that a small group of people without power cannot change the world. It's more that every single time that the world has changed, it all started with a small group of people with very, very little power. Think about it. Think about civil rights. Think about, I don't know, when in South Africa, they achieved equal rights for all the population. It started with a small group of people that were not in power, and they went to jail and they struggled. But at the end, they managed to create a lasting change. It all starts with small groups of people that are highly committed and they are thinking, what can I do in order to change the world or change my country or change my company? And that for me is the most important reason that many times change doesn't happen. We think it's not in our hands, it's somebody else who needs to change. Okay. And then the problem here is that you are ignoring change dynamics. And that was my case, by the way. I'm eating my own dog food. My situation several years ago was that I was bringing ideas to my company when I was, employed by someone else, and they were ignoring me. And I was like, I'm surrounded by idiots. And the problem was that the idea itself was a great idea. The way I was introducing that idea was absolutely wrong because I didn't know about how human groups change. For instance, I thought that I could convince people by showing them facts. A lot of people ask me, do you have facts? Do you have numbers, figures that demonstrate without any doubt that working in an agile way, it's better than working in a different way, in a waterfall way or in silos or whatever? And I like, dude, I do have studies, I do have information, I do have business cases, whatever. But it doesn't matter because you are not going to convince people with facts. And you might be thinking, that's the way you convince people. You show them the facts. I don't agree. We are emotional beasts. If we ourselves were convinced by facts, everyone listening to this conference would be eating 5 to 7 pieces of fruits and vegetables every day, and you will be doing 5 to 6 hours of moderate cardiovascular exercise a week, because the facts show that if you eat 5 to 7 pieces of fruit and vegetables every day, and then you do like 4 to 6 hours of exercise every week, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be happier, you're going to have more energy, you're going to be, it's good for, you're going to live more years. And are you doing that? No. Why? Oh, I don't have the time. I don't have time to go and shop for vegetables and groceries, and I don't have time to exercise. I prefer to eat some donuts and some bacon and sit on the couch and see whatever stupid thing is showing on the TV, which feels better. It's more comfortable. It's easier. The problem is that eating healthy, it's work. It's difficult. You have to put your mind to it. We are emotional beasts. The reason that we do most of our things, it's emotions. We like to think that there's a reason behind. We are rationalizing beasts. We do things emotionally, and then we put an explanation on top of that. And now I'm going to try to show you a video, which is kind of risky because we are playing with bandwidth and Zoom and all that. We tried this a minute ago and it worked, so please bear with me. It's going to be a minute. This video is about an experiment with 2 capuchin monkeys, and what they're trying to prove is that if we have, a hardwired sense of what's fairness, or if it's something that we learn from society. So they do this exercise with these monkeys. They teach them to use coins, which are like stone coins. And then when the monkey gives the coin to the manager, to the experiment guy, they receive cucumber, and these monkeys, they like cucumber. But then at some given moment, they are going to start giving to the other monkey grapes instead of cucumber. And these monkeys, they like cucumber and grapes. I mean, they like cucumber, but they love grapes. So let's see what happens, okay?
Getting grape, and you will see what happens. So she gives a rock to us, that's the task. And we give her a piece of cucumber and she eats it. The other one needs to give a rock to us. And that's what she does. And she gets a grape. And she eats it. The other one sees that. She gives a rock to us now, gets again cucumber. She tests the rock now against the wall. She needs to give it to us. And she gets cucumber again.
It's great. I love this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as you see, it's absolutely irrational. And we behave the same way. This monkey, he's so happy because he's receiving free cucumber. How cool is that? Free cucumber. And then suddenly he realizes that the other monkey is getting free grapes. And then suddenly the monkey is so angry. And nothing has changed. You are still receiving your free cucumber. You were happy with your free cucumber a minute ago, and you're not happy anymore. Why? Because that monkey is receiving grapes. And you're like, forget about the other monkey. Nothing has changed for you. And there's still no way you're going to have this monkey motivated by cucumber again. Now you want grapes. And this is the same that happens when you're happy with your salary and then you realize that someone in your company is being paid more than you for doing the same work or even less work. And you were happy with your salary yesterday, you're not happy with your salary anymore, which is not rational because it's still free cucumber. But there's fairness and unfairness, and we are going to react to that. And if your change initiative, in your change management, is not taking care of this idea of people are going to react emotionally, then that's the reason you're failing. You are ignoring change dynamics, and change, it's an emotional thing, okay? So, change happens. This is the good news. It seems like it's so hard to change things around the world. It seems like it's impossible to change anything. And that's not the reason. That's not the case, I mean. Change happens. We see it every day. If you look at your phone, I bet most of you are not still using a flip phone, an Alcatel or a Motorola from 20 years ago. We are using new phones and they have a lot of new functionality. Was that difficult to change your phone? No. Why? Because suddenly you saw something that was better than what you had. You realized that the new phone had a lot of stuff, features, or maybe it was more fashionable. And then you decide, I want that thing better than the one thing I have here. So there's a bit of a learning there. Change is easy when people decide, I want to change, and when people see that there's a benefit for the change. The problem is that most of the time we're trying to impose change on people, and then they will react. Well, who are you to make me change? It is difficult to change ourselves. It's easy that when I decide to change my phone, it's easy, but it's difficult when I try another person to change their phone. Because when I say, hey, you, change your phone, the first thing they're going to do is be suspicious. Why are you trying to make me change my phone? Probably there's some reason for you. You are being egoistical or you are looking for your own benefit. And most of the time, this is the reason that it's very difficult to change. Because you are trying to impose change on people, and then you're complaining that those people are not doing the change, okay? As we mentioned. There's change dynamics. This is the good news. There's a lot of people that have been writing and studying about how change happens in big organizations. I'm going to mention a couple of them. One book I strongly recommend is Fearless Change by Marianne Lin and Linda Rising, which is a collection of patterns of change. Then you have all the work by Edgar Schein, which is, probably the father of the organization, of the idea of organizational culture. And he wrote a lot about culture and how to define and influence the culture of an organization. And then, of course, you have all the work by Cotter. You have the nice booklet by Jürgen Appel on how to change the world, where you have several different frameworks that you can use. And there's a lot. I'm just seeing here that I have this book by Tony Hsieh, who sadly passed this week or in recent days. He died very, very early. And this book for me was like super, super influencing, Delivering Happiness, where he talks about how he created an amazing culture of customer service in Zappos, the company he managed. So again, a very, very interesting read. So my advice here is, besides learning about whatever you are trying to introduce in your company, let's say it's agility, besides learning about agility and Scrum and Kanban and SAFe and Nexus and LESS and design thinking and product management and lean startup and whatever, it's a great idea if you are thinking about introducing these ideas to an organization which is new to these ideas. It would be great if you also taught yourself and make yourself proficient on how change happens and how to introduce change in a company. What I'm going to do, I'm not going to go through each of these models, because I could spend like 3 or 4 days going through the ADKAR model, which is one that I use a lot in my work as a consultant, which is awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement, which is 5 things you need in order to be able to change. In order to make someone change, you need that person to have awareness, which is, I understand what's the problem and what are we trying to change here. Desire, I want to change that problem. Knowledge, I know how to change that problem. Ability, which is I am able to change that problem. I have the means, I have the material, the resources. And then reinforcement, you keep working with these people so they remember that there's a problem, that they want to solve that problem, that they know how to solve the problem, and that they have the means to solve that problem. But if some of these 5 things is not present in your company, then change is very, very unlikely to happen. Sometimes I come to a company and they are giving people training, which is working on the knowledge side. But then when I ask people, why are we trying to be more agile? They say, I don't know, because my boss says so. So there's a problem of awareness. They don't understand what's the problem they're trying to solve. Okay. Sometimes the problem is people don't have awareness. You are like, you see a person which is overweight and you're trying to convince that person that they should eat more healthy. And they are like, I like how I eat. Everything is delicious. I'm eating donuts and chocolate and bacon. And then you show them their blood tests and they are like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Suddenly you've raised awareness and they are like, maybe I should go on a diet. And this is something I always teach people in my courses and in my talks. I ask them, how many people do you think that in the first world are willing to go on a diet? And the answer is nobody. Nobody's willing to go on a diet. You don't go to, people hate going on diets. What you want is the results of the diet. You want to look better. You want to be healthier. You want to live more years. That's what you have to sell. A lot of times we are selling agility to the companies, which is the diet. Let's go in the agility diet, which is so hard. You're going to be, as a manager, you have to let go of the teams and do not tell people what to do. And now you are not able to influence them anymore. They are on their own. It's a difficult diet. Nobody wants to do that unless you show them the results. We're going to be faster. We're going to have happier customers. We're going to have better products. We're going to be a long-lived company, because if we don't do this, we're going to die. We're going to disappear from the market. And then people are willing to go on the agile diet. Agility is not an end. It's not the goal. The goal is not agility. Agility is a strategy, is a way to survive and be successful in many complex situations. So please, another advice, don't sell the diet, sell the results of the diet, sell the problem we're trying to solve with this diet. Again, if there's an awareness problem, it doesn't matter how many training you are giving people and how many reinforcement. You keep communicating, we should be agile, and people are like, why? I don't know. It's fashionable these days. It's the fashion. Everyone talks about it. It will be gone in a year or two. Really? We've been talking about agility since the 90s. It's 2020. I don't think this seems to be going anywhere in the following months. And see how in this situation with the virus, a lot of companies have found that it was very, very important that they changed and became more agile, more flexible, more learning. Okay? So I have like 10 minutes to finish my talk, which is amazing because I wanted to give you 21 ways because my company is Improvement 21. So it's cool when I say 21 tips to convince management of agility or anything else. How to introduce change in your company. I don't have enough time, so I will make that 10 ways to convince managers to introduce change. 10 is a good number, okay? 10 ways too, it's a good list. You can tell it's a good list when it has 10 things that you can do, okay? Jokes apart, very, very fast, but at least some ideas. How to structure a change initiative beyond just telling people about your idea and telling them it's a good idea, we should do it. There's a lot of other things you should be doing if you really want your company to change. Like, for instance, one thing you should do, empathize with those people. I meet a lot of agile change agents that they speak trash about the people they are trying to supposedly help. These stupid managers surrounded by idiots, these hard mind people that don't see the beauty of my idea. Well, that's not a very likely to succeed strategy. Instead of that, try to think about why are these people rejecting this idea? Think about the middle manager who is 50 and hence unemployable if they lose their job now. And now here comes this new idea that they realize it means that they will have less power and they don't see what's the role as a manager anymore. So they are scared to death. Try to empathize with those people. How would you sell something to those people when they are so scared about that something, okay? So think about it like a product and you can do a design thinking strategy, like how do I sell this product to these people? And then you try to empathize with the people and think what motivates these people. The Chamfrox acronym, it's from Management 3.0 by Jürgen Appel. It's the moving motivators, okay? The 10 things that intrinsically motivate people. Try to think, how can I intrinsically motivate these people to do the change? Then very, very important, find the early adopters in your company. A lot of people think that the way to change a company is find the people that are against the change and then convince those people. I don't think that's the way you should start at the very least. You start by finding those people who are enthusiastic about that change, and then you create a community with those people, nurture that community, give them some structure. Structure meaning some place to meet, some time to meet, and some operational model. Like we start doing Scrum over the change. Every 2 weeks, we plan for something we will do, and then we synchronize every day. And at the end of the 2 weeks, we evaluate the results and we retrospect on the process, and then we plan again. That's giving a structure to a change management team. I don't know how to change a company if I don't have a change management team of people from the company. I haven't seen change happening because you are bringing people from the outside and then those people are in charge of the change. You can bring people from the outside who can help these early adopters to get the knowledge and the ability and the structure and then get them going. That's how I believe you can make lasting change in companies. So start with the early adopters. Start with this small community of people that will join you in the way to Mordor, okay? And then once you are going to Mordor, learn the language. Learn the language of Mordor. A lot of people fail in their agile change initiatives because they start talking about test automation and test coverage and pairing and sprinting and backlogs. And then the managers, they are like, I don't get it. What's this? This is like mumbo jumbo talk. You have to learn to talk the talk of the business. You have to sell your initiative in business terms. This is the problem. This is the solution. These are the gains. This is the benefit. This is the return of investment. That's the language of Mordor. So if you're going to Mordor, learn the language. Learn how to speak to managers, okay? I'm saying here, watch for dangerous terms. Like, for instance, I see people that they start advocating for, design thinking or agility. And they start saying, you know what? We should fail fast. We should fail more. We should fail often. And if I haven't ever heard about this thing and you start telling me that this is about failing a lot and often and early, that scares the hell out of me. I don't want to fail. What do you mean we want to fail? Okay, so that's dangerous. You are using a very dangerous language. Instead of talking about failing, you should be talking about learning maybe. Hey, we have to learn more because we don't know. So let's learn more. And you're like, oh yeah, I like learning. I don't like failing. Of course, there's going to be some failing involved in learning, but instead of selling the failing thing, sell the learning. So be careful with the words you are using. The language is very, very important. Words have power. The way you exorcise a demon, it's by knowing the demon's name. Okay, so be careful how you name things. Okay, so something that Safe did very good, and I know, boo, say, boo, bullshit agility, boo, yeah, whatever. But something they did very, very good is they learned the management talk, and they created this amazing, consultant style pictures and infographies and that were very, very appealing to managers. And that was the thing they did very, very good. So please, maybe we can learn something from them. Number 4, raise awareness. If you want to change a company and you have no power, you don't have decision power, the one thing you can do is open conversations. Conversations are powerful. And you can always open a conversation and talk about, hey, do you think that we have a problem here? Because I think we have a problem here. So open that conversations. Find the cracks in the system. There's a song and a poem by Leonard Cohen that says there's always a crack in the wall. That's how the light gets in. And I wholeheartedly believe in that. If you find a pain, start talking about that pain. Instead of speaking and talking about Scrum and Kanban and agility, talk about the pain we have here. Oh, everything is asking things to us at the same time, asking things from us at the same time. We have like 75 people asking things at the same time. And you're like, oh, that's too bad. Hey, how about we appoint someone and we put that someone on the front, and that someone will deal with all the things people are asking from us, and then he or she will prioritize them. And then we will start doing them one by one. Would that be a good thing? Oh, that sounds amazing. Guess what? You've introduced the product owner pattern, this idea of let's have a backlog, let's have a priority, let's do things one by one, let's limit the work in progress. You're introducing a lot of things, not because it's Scrum, not because it's Kanban, but because it's a solution to a problem we have. That's what Alan Simon calls organic agility. Instead of imposing agility on people, let agility grow by planting the seeds and watering those seeds. Then number 5, think on the change as a process, not as an event. We all see the day that the wall falls. We all see the day that the president comes and say, this year, agility is one of our priorities. And we are like, yay, we made it. No, you didn't. That's part of the process. And there's a process before that until we convince top managers. And there's a process after that. It keeps going, okay? So focus on the long term, like try to see what are we trying to achieve really, really in the future, but then focus also in small increments, like choose small battles that we create small progress towards your end goal. Some people try to go big bang. Let's have like a Spotify, Facebook, Google-esque culture on Monday morning, and that doesn't work. Sometimes you have to compromise for something that is not that agile, but it's more agile than whatever we are doing here. And once again, boo! This is something that the Safe people did very, very good. You have a bank that has been working for 120 years in a very traditional way. If you move to this is not the most agile thing in the world. You know it, and I know it. Everyone knows it, but it's way more agile to whatever they were doing the last year. So it's a temporary compromise. And then from here, my only petition here is please don't stop here. Use this as a platform to keep going and to simplify and descale and to create something that is more organic and less a nightmare. And then number 6, make it easy to understand. One of them, and this is one of the reasons that I have it in bold black letters here, create a clear vision. One of the things that happens when I arrive to companies is that everyone says we have to be agile. And then you ask people to write in a paper what agile means to you at least. And then you collect all the papers and then you cry because 25 people, you have 25 definitions of what's agility. For one person, agility is we don't do documents anymore. For another person, agility is no more bureaucracy. For another person, agility is there's no managers. For another person, agility is we have small teams. For another person, agility is we all sit together. For another person, agility is we have Post-its on the wall. And you're like, no wonder there's no way to get you guys to be more agile because you have 25 ideas on what's agility. And we are all saying agile, and everyone's like, yes, agile. But you have 25 different ideas. Create a clear vision, transmit a clear vision. Get everyone in the same line, in the same vision on what are we trying to solve here? What's the one thing we are trying to achieve? For me, that's the beauty of Alistair Coburn's Heart of Agile, which is very similar to the way I usually transmit the idea of agility to my companies, which is agility. It's about four different things, four very basic things. It's about early and frequent delivery of value. It's about reflecting constantly, like having time to think. It's about constantly improving, and it's about collaborating together. This is 4 ideas, and then you can, elaborate on those. But this is 4 ideas, and it's a common vision, and now everyone has the same idea on what's agility. And once again, triple boo, this is something that the SAFe people did very good, because suddenly agility is this, or the concept that we are trying to compromise on of agility is this. Now you have a blueprint. How cool is that? People love blueprints. But please, again, don't stop here. It's a good way to give people one vision of this is the one thing we're trying to do right now. Maybe next year it will mean something else. So maybe don't do SAFe, but keep in mind that learning the language, giving a clear vision, and giving people a clear idea on what are we trying to do, it's a good way to promote your change. 5 minutes. So number 7. Look for quick wins. People get tired. At the beginning, we are also excited. When we have been on an initiative for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, people start getting really, really tired of being in arguments and communicating and failing and then having to remind people once and again what this thing is about. It's very, very important that we show people, hey, look what we managed to do here. It's like there's a happy team over there. There's a happy customer over there. We managed to lower the lead time of our process. We managed to solve this issue of the core of the application, which had been around forever, but suddenly we had enough time to work on it. That's amazing. That's great. So, bang your bells as high and as loud as you can, because people like to see progress. If you never see progress, people will be demotivated. So do small pilot projects that can be completed soon enough that you can show something to the company. Also, great way of convincing people of the change. Hey, it works, and it works here, and it's working here now. Showing way more powerful than telling. So again, look for quick wins as the low-hanging fruit, which is maybe not the most beautiful, most delicious fruit. It's the smallest. It's not so good, but it's low-hanging. It's easy to get, and you can show them to people. And if they taste it and they say, "Well, this fruit is not that bad," and you say, "You like that?" Then when we get to the top of the tree and you get the real good fruit, it's gonna be amazing, and then people are motivated to climb the tree. Number 8, look elsewhere. We are usually so focused on ourselves, and there's so much information out there. There's a lot of people willing to share what things have worked for them in the past and in the present. So go to conferences like this one and enroll in trainings and listen to what other people have to say about their experience moving and introducing change in companies. Bring people that are recognized as experts in their fields. Sometimes you just want to hire someone to say the same thing you've been saying in your company, but on the expert's voice. That's the pattern guru on your side. Because if I say something in my company, everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Then Alistair Coburn comes to the company and says the same thing. And everyone is like, he's so right. Because it's perceived, and he is a guru and a leader of the market. And you're like, dudes, I've been saying the same for 5 years. It's very unfair, I know, but sometimes it's a good strategy to bring someone from the outside and say the same thing, because people will perceive it differently. That's the reason that most people that have had successful transformations, they will probably talk to them. They will probably recommend that you bring people into the process, bring people from the outside, bring people that have the knowledge, people that have done it before, and bring them early in the process. Of course, that's my job, okay? So you might be saying, yeah, you're trying to sell your services. Maybe a little bit. Just go ask to people that have done it. If you want to buy a Cadillac or a Ford or a Mustang or whatever, do not talk to the Cadillac dealer. Talk to the Cadillac driver. talk to someone that owns the car. And if that person says, dude, it's an amazing car, then you can start to believe the car is good. So I'm a car dealer. Don't listen to me. Go talk to people that have engaged in successful transformations and ask them about what worked for them. And then, I don't know, maybe try it. Number 9, piggyback, which means if there's an existing program, like for instance, in many of your companies, the digital transformation, then you can piggyback on that, which is like saying, hey, you know what's great for digital transformation? Agility. And then suddenly, you attach agility to that already going initiative in your company that has the budget, that has the attention of the people. So if you can attach your change initiative to something that already has inertia, that's something that already has momentum, that's a great strategy. And I really recommend that. I do it a lot. And then number 10, get help. Don't do it alone. This is not about lone riders. This is not about heroes. This is not about the boxer fighting on his own. This is, especially if you are trying to convince people to be agile about that. Create teams and make it about collaboration. Get help because you're going to be burnt out pretty quickly and you will need other people to take care of you. Something that happens with change agents is we get burned out a lot. It's a lot of effort and it's very demoralizing. It's very frustrating. Sometimes I do have a saying in Spanish. I would try to translate that. Changing a company is trying to kill a donkey by pinching the donkey. So you pinch the donkey and you pinch it again and you pinch and you pinch and you pinch and you pinch. And 3 years later, the donkey says, I can't take it anymore and drops dead. And suddenly everyone says, oh, look, the donkey died overnight and you have no fingers left. Well, it's very, very similar, okay? You have to keep pinching that donkey until it dies or until it moves, and you're going to be tired sooner or later. So you need people to take care of you and maybe, exchange ideas and create more leaders. So that was my 40 minutes, and I have like 10 minutes or even less for the questions. I would like just to finish in a high side saying if everything else fails, you can try the Jedi mind trick, which is these are not the droids you're looking for. You are going to be agile. It's not going to work, but you're going to look super, super cool doing it. And then you can also try the serenity prayer, which is, Lord, grant me the serenity to, tolerate, what says here, accept the things that I can change, the courage to change the ones that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, Okay, so I did have a couple of other slides, but I'm going to, it was some last words and maybe I can use them on the Q&A. I want to spend the last 9 minutes now that I have available for questions and answers.
Good, Angel. It was very inspiring. We really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. We also have a lot of questions for you. So, as I said, we are not able to answer all the questions because of the time limit, but we will start with the ones with the most likes. So the first one goes, should change start from bottom to top or vice versa?
That's a good one. Long story short, I want to try to give short answers. I usually create new storylines for each questions, and I want to answer as much as possible. Best possible strategy is both, okay, from the bottom and from the top. We think sometimes that unless people from top are on the change won't happen. And that at some moment is going to be true. You will need people on top to buy the change. And then sometimes the problem is that people on the front line are very conscious of the problems, are very aware of the problems, but they sometimes fail to see the big picture. So the best thing is probably to do a pinch movement and have people on top supporting the change and giving a clear definition of what's the goal, the state that we're trying to achieve, and then have people on the bottom, excuse me for these top buttons, but only to understand ourselves, have people on the bottom really being the ones implementing the change. That's the best possible strategy for me, and it's very compatible with the idea of Hoshin Kanri from Toyota. The idea that people from the top will set the goals and that people in different lines or layers will be responsible for translating those goals into short-term tasks and then executing those tasks.
Okay, good. So the next one would be, what are the most common challenges of change management once we start to use it?
always changing yourself. That's the most important challenge, and people fail to see that. I'll give you an example. 3 years ago, I engaged in my first training as a trainee in coaching, because I was seeing that a lot of people were coaches and they were able to achieve some results that I didn't. And also I was so suspicious about coaching. It seems like a little bit like hypnosis or something strange, and I didn't know. And I decided to go and learn. And then when I started learning about coaching, I'm not exactly a coach myself, but I learned coaching and I use coaching skills in my work. And then suddenly I was talking to a friend and I said, dude, it's amazing. Since I started learning about coaching skills, my trainings are having better feedback and better marks. And then also the relationship with my son has become better. And he started laughing and he said, it's amazing how you take a course and then everyone else in the world changes. And that's the truth. It's the door that you are trying to push. It opens inwards. So if you change it, I know it sounds like, I don't know, Paulo Coelho bullshit, but if you change yourself, you change everything. And it's the only one thing you are able to really change, it's yourself. You are expecting everyone else to change and you are neglecting the change on yourself. This is, for me, the most challenging, but also the most powerful thing. Changing your attitude, your ways, your vision, the way you react and you relate to people and how you transmit and how you connect your energy. That's probably the most difficult and the most powerful.
Okay, so the next one is related to resistance to change. So what are the best ways to overcome resistance to change?
Shoot them. Next question. I mean, it's the best. No, I mean, good question, of course, and we always, think about that question. And be aware that even though I said so, you are always thinking about the person that is going to resist to the change instead of thinking about the people that are not resistant to the change. And you should be working with those. But at some given moment, you will work with people that are resistant to change, okay? The other day, I was talking to a customer and they say, Angel, in this company, we have people that are resistant to change. And I said, yes, they are called people. They are called human beings. Everyone will resist to some change. Even we that are agile change agents are resistant to some other changes. Everyone. So the first thing you have to do is empathize with those people. Instead of, tagging those people as, those are laggards and we have to get rid of them and protect from them. I made that mistake, by the way, for a long time. And then I realized that laggards, they were scared. There was fear behind every violent reaction to change. So the first thing you have to do is understand what's the fear behind the resistance. Every single time somebody's showing a negative emotion, let's say there are positive and negative emotions, which is not exactly true, but for the sake of the argument, every time you see violence and shouting and resistance and neglecting, if you keep scratching, there's fear. And if you scratch even beyond that fear, there's the sense of losing, the impermanence. I am losing something. So if you understand what this person is losing with this change, that's a very good way to start. And then the next thing is, instead of talking about the change, talking about the problem you're trying to solve and get them to agree that this is a problem we have and this is a problem we should be solving. This is a good way to start and open a dialogue channel with the people that are resistant to change.
Okay, good. The next one is, what is the toughest challenge you encountered in change management?
Getting paid by my customers. These are huge companies that have amazing bureaucracies, and every single time I have to issue an invoice is a nightmare. No, jokes apart. Again, I think we answered that. The biggest challenge is in myself. For instance, and each of us will have a different struggle. You have to identify your struggle. My struggle is I get frustrated. And when I get frustrated, I get angry. And when I get angry, I project a very negative, nasty energy that I baptized a long time ago as the Kraken. And a lot of people love the Kraken because the Kraken is super powerful. I appear there and I say, you are full of shit. We're doing this because this is the one thing we're doing. And everyone gets so scared. And then something happens. And everyone is like, ooh, the Kraken is cool because the Kraken is like, an icebreaker. But then the cracking also is destroying people, and it's destroying relationships, and it's creating grudges in people that are saying, I will get back to you, I will have my revenge. So for me, my struggle is to not be frustrated, to be patient, and to keep my energy in a compassionate energy. And I know I'm sounding a little bit bullshitty right now, but it's what's working for me. I'm having way better results now that I'm trying to laugh and enjoy and be patient and embrace and communicate better than when I was shooting people and hating people so they made the change. That's my struggle. And the biggest challenge is to find your struggle and work with that struggle. But it also will create happiness for you, and you will be a better person because you will improve yourself. And that will improve every single aspect of your life. And I think this is a great point to leave our talk and our questions on top, because we have like 1 minute. I don't know if we have time for another questions, or maybe this is a great place.
Yeah, thank you so much. They were very good questions. I agree with you, and your answers were very useful. And I agree with you. We all have to search within ourselves first, and then to reach the others. Very inspiring talk. Thank you again.
Also, remember there's a panel, like in, I don't know if it's at 1 European time, which is like a couple of hours.
Yes, of course. That's what I wanted to say. So we will talk to you soon again in panel discussion. We will also have more panelists and a moderator. So it's promising to be very exciting as well. So, yeah, a little dance. So, thank you. So, for the questions that we didn't have enough time to answer, we will try to answer them in the following period on the event wall. So, thanks again. See you later. Okay.
Bye. See you all.